related to the second chapter in your physics syllabus, that is electric potential and capacitor. This chapter is a continuation of electrostatics only, which means still we deal with static charges. Let us start with an assumption that there is a plus q charge situated at some point O. As you already know that this charge around it produces some field called electric field. If I select some point somewhere here and let me name that point as P, I can define electric intensity at point P. Just recall the definition of electric intensity at a point which you have learnt in the previous chapter. Electric intensity at a point is defined as the force experienced by the unit positive charge placed at that point. That means, as you already know that wherever you define an electric intensity at a point, there I need to assume a test charge, and according to your standard definition, that test charge is nothing but a unit positive charge. General notation of a test charge is Q naught, but in your standard definition of a electric intensity, test charge is nothing but plus 1 coulomb charge. So again I'll repeat the definition of electric intensity what you learned in the previous topic. Electric intensity at a point is defined as the electrostatic force experienced by the unit positive charge placed at that point. Now even you know that this electric intensity is a vector. It has got a direction. According to this formula, direction of electric intensity will be same as a direction of the electrostatic force. That means if I want to draw the direction of electric intensity at a point, just try to find the direction of the force on a plus 1 coulomb charge due to a point charge. This is a plus 1 coulomb charge. This is a point charge. Plus 1 coulomb charge will be repelled by this plus q charge. So that means the direction of the force on a plus 1 coulomb charge will be in this direction. The direction of the force itself is the direction of electric intensity at that point. This is a well-known fact to you. Okay, now coming to our point of discussion here. This plus 1 coulomb charge, now for a time being, you assume that it is far away from the plus q charge. This plus 1 coulomb charge, you have to assume very large distance away from a plus q charge. Such a large distance away from a plus q charge that the new position, the plus 1 coulomb charge will experience nearly a zero electrostatic force by a plus q charge. Practically speaking, when you say a plus 1 coulomb charge is very large distance away from a plus q charge, it will experience a force, but it should be a very weak force. And if you are expecting the force should be zero means, I would introduce some theoretical idea, theoretical logic saying that plus 1 coulomb charge should be assumed at infinite distance away from a plus q charge. Now, if I go according to the theoretical logic, if I assume that the plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinity, or plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance away from a plus q charge, so that idea you should consider. Practically speaking, plus 1 coulomb charge is large distance away from a plus q charge. Theoretically speaking, the plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance away from a plus q charge. Now, what is the idea behind saying that plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance away from a plus q charge? The electrostatic force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. If I say that R is infinity, don't you think that mathematically F will be 0? That is why I said, theoretically you assume that plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance away from plus q charge. But practical difficulties, we don't know where is infinity. So what you can assume is plus 1 coulomb charge is very large distance away from plus q charge, so that the force on a plus 1 coulomb charge due to plus q charge is nearly equal to 0. Okay, now this plus 1 coulomb charge which is assumed at infinity, now you are going to get that plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to the point P against the electric field of plus q charge. When you are bringing a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field of a plus q charge, don't you think that you are doing some work? Obviously, there is some work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. Question arises, why I said there is a work done? The reason is, when you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P, don't you think that the plus 1 coulomb charge will start experiencing the electrostatic force of repulsion by a plus q charge? It experiences electrostatic force, and moreover, that electrostatic force of repulsion goes on increases as you start moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P. When that electrostatic force of repulsion goes on increases, still I have to move a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P against that electrostatic force or against that electric field, means I should apply a force which should balance the electrostatic force of repulsion. That means I am applying the force in a direction opposite to the electrostatic force of repulsion, which gives a clear indication that there is some work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. Whatever the amount of work is done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field, that itself is a measure of a new physical quantity in electrostatics that is called as electric potential, which we represent by the symbol V. This is our one part of the main heading of the topic of discussion. This is actually what I wanted to introduce. Whereas this concept of electric intensity is familiar to you. This is electric potential, which is one of the physical quantity in electrostatics. That is our point of discussion. I said, whatever the amount of work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field, that is a measure of electric potential at that point. See, I am stressing the word at that point. Whatever the amount of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field, that is a measure of electric potential at that point. Why I am repeating that word at that point? Because instead of selecting P, if I would have selected Q, if I would have selected R, and if I ask you to move a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to P or infinity to Q or infinity to R against the electric field, do you think that the amount of work done is same in all the cases? Obviously not. It is a very much common sense from your understanding that you have to do a more amount of work in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field compared to work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to Q or infinity to R. Since work done are not same, it gives a clear indication that electric potentials are not same at all the 3 points. That is why we always define electric potential at a point, because potential changes from point to point. Means if I recollect whatever I explained, and based on that, if I define what is electric potential at a point, I can define electric potential at a point something like this. Electric potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. When I say point under consideration, options are open, depends upon the point to which you are bringing the plus 1 coulomb charge. I'll repeat the definition of electric potential at a point. Listen to this carefully. Electric potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. The point to be noted is, in this formula, Q naught is a unit positive charge. W is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. Okay, now I said this is one of the physical quantity because it is measurable. Electric potential, just like electric intensity, electric potential is also one of the physical quantity. When I say it is a physical quantity, you can think of its unit. Of course, not compulsory that physical quantity should have a unit, not necessary. But let us think whether it has got, let us check whether it has got a unit or not. If you go according to the equation, basic equation, W represents a work done, its unit is a joule. Q naught represents a charge, its unit is coulomb. So according to this equation, the unit of electric potential is joule per coulomb. but it is replaced as, instead of remembering it as joule per coulomb, so it is replaced as volt. Symbol is again V. See, it is just like force. According to the equation F equal to m into A, its unit is kg meter per second square. It was simply replaced as a Newton. Same here. Joule per coulomb is replaced as volt. That means SI unit of electric potential is volt. So once you are able to define electric potential at a point, once you came to know about its unit, I think now it is very easy for you to define electric potential at a point as 1 volt. The question is how to define this electric potential at a point as 1 volt. You can just stick on to the same formula, V is equal to W by Q naught, where what you can assume is in the above formula W is 1 joule and Q naught is equal to 1 coulomb. Surely V will be equal to 1 volt, which means electric potential at a point is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. I'll repeat. Electric potential at a point is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. That means whatever I have explained till now in this chapter called electric potential and a capacitor, you need to remember the two things. One is a definition of electric potential at a point, and one more is a definition of electric potential at a point as 1 volt. Let me recall those two definitions once before I proceed. Electric potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. Electric potential at a point is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. So I think these two definitions are clear to you. So let me proceed. I am talking about the same situation, but let us add some additional point for our discussion. So there is a same plus Q charge situated at a point O. Now I'll select 2 points. Let us name those 2 points as A and B. There is a plus Q charge, it is a point charge, and due to this plus Q charge I am able to have an electric field. In that electric field I selected 2 points, point A and point B, at a certain distance away from a plus Q charge. Now at present situation, you know that I can define electric intensity at A, I can define electric intensity at B. You know that I can define electric potential at A, you know I can define electric potential at B. Electric potential at A, let me represent it as V suffix A. Electric potential at B, let us represent it as V suffix B. If I ask you to draw the direction of a electric intensity at point A, if you are asked to draw the direction of a electric intensity at point A due to this plus Q charge, you know I need to assume a plus 1 coulomb charge there. So direction of a electric intensity is same as the direction of the force. So if I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge there, plus 1 coulomb charge will be repelled by a plus Q charge. So this is the direction of the force, and that itself is the direction of electric intensity. Similarly, if I ask you to draw the direction of electric intensity at B, I need to assume a test charge, that is a plus 1 coulomb charge at that point B, and plus 1 coulomb charge will be again repelled by plus Q charge. The direction of the force is in this direction, that itself is the direction of electric intensity at point B. So whatever I have drawn is a direction of electric intensity, and whatever I am talking about is electric potentials at A and B. The basic difference between E and V is, I mean to say electric intensity and electric potential is, electric intensity is a vector quantity, you know it, but electric potential is a scalar quantity. On what base you say it is a scalar quantity? Just refer the definition of potential what we have given. It is the amount of work done. You know work done is a scalar. Since work is a scalar, obviously electric potential should be also scalar quantity. There is a one basic difference between your physical quantity called electric intensity and electric potential. Electric intensity is a vector, electric potential is a scalar. So okay, coming to the point of our discussion. So I selected 2 points A and B. At A potential is VA, at B potential is assumed to be VB. Again, based on our earlier explanation, you can understand that potential at A and potential at B are not at all same. Like when you're defining a potential at point A, it is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point A against the electric field of which charge? Plus Q charge. Potential at point B is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point B against the electric field. When I say you are moving a unit positive charge from infinity to A or infinity to B, it is clear that work done are not same. When the work done are not same, obviously potentials are not same. And if you use a little bit of common sense in this discussion, it is clear that VA should be greater than VB. Because you're doing a more work in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to a point A against the electric field of plus Q charge compared to the work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field of plus Q charge. That means there is a potential difference between the 2 points. That is my point of discussion at present. Potential difference between the 2 points. We know VA is greater than VB according to this explanation. Mathematically speaking, potential difference between the 2 points is nothing but difference in the potential at the 2 points. That means I can write potential difference between A and B generally as VA difference VB. It is a difference symbol, VA difference VB. It is a potential difference between the 2 points. But in physics we try to define each and everything. So we'll try to define what is this potential difference also. Coming to the concept of a potential. Potential at a point A is amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point A against the electric field. Potential at a point B is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. What you notice here is, in this discussion, whenever you are bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to point A or infinity to point B, you will be doing the same amount of work up till you bring a plus 1 coulomb charge to point B. I'll repeat whatever I said. When you are bringing a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point A or infinity to a point B, you will be doing the same amount of work till B. Only thing is you are going to do some extra work in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from B to A. That extra work done in moving a unit positive charge from B to A, that itself is a measure of potential difference between the 2 points. Using this logic, I can define potential difference between the 2 points somewhat like this. Potential difference between the 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. I'll repeat. Potential difference between the 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. Now you just compare this equation and this equation of a potential at a point. A lot of similarities are there. Along with that, there is a difference also. Similarities, this Q naught is plus 1 coulomb, this Q naught is also a plus 1 coulomb. Difference is this V is a potential at a point. Here this is a potential difference between the 2 points, and you are using the same notation, work done as W here and here also W only. But difference in this W is this is a work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. Whereas this W is a work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. Okay, let us follow the same order. That time I define electric potential at a point. After that I define electric potential at a point as 1 volt. In a similar manner, just now I defined the potential difference between the 2 points. Now let us try to define potential difference between the 2 points as 1 volt. Again, you can make the definition very simple by assuming W is equal to 1 coulomb and this Q naught is plus 1 coulomb. If I substitute back in the equation, W is 1 joule, Q naught is plus 1 coulomb, surely you will get VA difference VB is equal to 1 volt. Now I can define potential difference between the 2 points is said to be 1 volt. If 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. I'll repeat. Potential difference between the 2 points is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. Now, from whatever I am discussing from past 20 to 25 minutes, you can highlight few things. One is, as I said, definition of electric potential at a point. Next one is defining a electric potential at a point as 1 volt. Next one is potential difference between the 2 points. And next one is potential difference between the 2 points as 1 volt. Along with that, the point to be noted is potential is a scalar quantity. Just recall, just for your reference, please concentrate, try to remember, learn the definitions now only. Electric potential at a point is defined as, try to recall the definition along with me. Electric potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. Next one. Electric potential at a point is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. Next one. Potential difference between the 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. Next one. Potential difference between the 2 points is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. I think these concepts are clear to you. So with this basic ideas, highlighting point is these 4 terms, and also remember potential is a scalar. I'll spend 2 minutes just to recall whatever I discussed. If you are having a study material along with you, just go through it, whatever the 4 points I highlighted. I'm following the random order because in between some of the note may be there in the study material. So just go through whatever I said for the 2 minutes, then I'll continue my discussion. Because later, when we proceed further, we have to highlight on the difference between electric intensity and electric potential. Before that, one more point I would like to clear before I give a 2 minutes break for you to go through the study material. Both electric intensity and electric potential, they are the 2 physical quantities. But the intention of these 2 physical quantities to explain the strength of the electric field only. Intention of introducing these 2 physical quantities, electric intensity and electric potential, to explain strength of the electric field only. Both are explaining the electric field only, but the difference is electric intensity is a vector quantity, electric potential is a scalar. So already you can say there are 2 difference between electric intensity and potential you come across. What are the 2 difference? One is electric intensity is a vector, electric potential is a scalar. And one more difference, you can give the difference in terms of their definition, how you define electric intensity and how you define electric potential. 2 differences are already over, remember that. When we proceed further, you may come across some other differences also. Okay, just go through the study material for 1.5 minutes. Well, continue the discussion. Just now I conclude with the statement by saying that both electric intensity as well as electric potential, um, both are actually representing, they are trying to explain electric field only. But there are some differences which I highlighted. Let us try to find a relation between electric intensity and electric potential. Again, we'll start our discussion with a point charge only, a plus q charge situated at point O. Again, it can produce an electric field around it. That is a well-known fact to you. Now my question to you is, try to answer. My question to you is, the electric field produced by this plus q charge around it is a uniform electric field or a non-uniform electric field? Keep in mind that whenever you talk about the vector quantities and whenever you call them as uniform, if you call them as uniform, it should be same both in terms of magnitude and direction. It is not that magnitude is same but directions are different. You cannot call it as uniform. That is a highlighting point here. Suppose if I select 2 points here, point A here and point B here. At A and at B, electric fields are not same, because you know electric field at a point according to the derivation due to a point charge is given by the formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. This is expression for electric field at a point due to a point charge. It is clear from the again equation that E is inversely proportional to square of the distance. If I select 2 points A and B, electric fields are not same in magnitude. Now if you speak in terms of a direction, let us mark the points. Let us say 1 point A here, one more point B here. You can clearly make out the distance of A from plus Q charge. The distance of B from plus Q charge is not at all same. When R is not same, obviously E is not same. Means there is a difference in the magnitude of electric field. But if I deal with the direction of electric field, you know, wherever you define electric intensity at a point, I need to assume a plus 1 coulomb charge. Plus 1 coulomb will be repelled by plus Q. That itself is the direction of electric intensity. Again, if I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at point B, plus 1 coulomb at point B will be repelled by plus Q. Directions are same, but magnitude of the electric intensities are not same. I can't call it as uniform electric field. Correct? Yeah. Means electric field around a point charge is not at all a uniform electric field. Now to overcome this problem of difference in the strength of the electric field at A and B, what I'll do is, I'm talking about the same situation. There is a plus Q charge at some point O. There is electric field around a plus Q charge due to that charge. That electric field is a non-uniform electric field. Now I am going to select 2 points. I will name those 2 points as A and B. Those 2 points which I selected in the electric field of a plus Q charge are very close to each other. They are so close that the distance of separation between those 2 points are so small that, let me take up the distance of separation between those 2 points as dx. It is so small that if I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at point A, or if I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at point B, plus 1 coulomb assumed at A or plus 1 coulomb assumed at B will experience same amount of electrostatic force of repulsion by plus Q charge. I can say nearly same, because A and B are very close, not like the previous diagram. A and B are well apart, where R makes a large difference. But here separation between A and B is so small that plus 1 coulomb assumed at A or plus 1 coulomb assumed at B will experience the same amount of electrostatic force by a plus Q charge. When I said plus plus 1 coulomb charge assumed at A or plus 1 coulomb charge assumed at B will experience the same amount of electrostatic force by a plus Q charge. Don't you think that if I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge anywhere between A and B, including A and B, plus 1 coulomb charge will experience the same amount of electrostatic force by a plus Q charge? What it means? Plus 1 coulomb charge assumed at A and B or anywhere between A and B will experience a same amount of a electrostatic force by a plus Q charge indicate that electric field between A and B is a nearly a uniform electric field. I said that time, when you speak about a vector, you should be careful to call that vector quantity is a uniform. Both magnitude and direction should be same. Direction is already same, as I already marked. I can mark it again here. Assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at A, plus 1 will be repelled by plus Q. That itself is the direction of electric intensity at that point. Assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at point B, plus 1 coulomb will be repelled by plus Q. That itself is the direction of electric intensity at that point. Directions are already same, and since A and B are very close to each other, the separation between A and B is so small that the plus 1 coulomb assumed at A or plus 1 coulomb assumed at B will experience nearly the same amount of electrostatic force by a plus Q charge, which gives a clear indication that in this region between A and B, electric field is a uniform electric field. Of course, entire electric field due to a plus Q charge is obviously a non-uniform electric field. But in that non-uniform electric field, I selected a two close points such a way that in that region electric field can be a uniform electric field. Let me proceed. Let us say there is a plus 1 coulomb charge assumed at A. When I assume a plus 1 coulomb charge at A, and we already define electric intensity at a point A. Electric intensity at a point is defined as the electrostatic force experienced by the unit positive charge placed at that point. We define electric intensity at A or B. It is one and the same. And according to definition, the value of Q naught is plus 1 coulomb. So obviously, the magnitude of E is same as magnitude of F. This is a well-known fact. It is required for our discussion. That's why I rewritten that. Okay, now let us assume that there is a plus 1 coulomb charge at point A. Now you are asked to move this plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B. When you are asked to move that plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, don't you think there is some work done? If I ask you to calculate what is the amount of work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge, amount of work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, of course, it is true that work done may be very small because you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge only from A to B. But you have to agree that there is a work done. Because if you refer the standard formulas of work done is given by the formula Fs cos theta, where F is a force which I applied, S is a displacement, theta is angle between the force and the displacement. When you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, my question to you is whether you are infinity to a point P. That time also you are applying the force. Is it a constant force or a variable force what you are applying? It is a variable force. Because in the beginning, plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance away from a plus q charge, practically speaking far away from a plus q charge, that time force on a plus 1 coulomb charge is very weak. That time to balance that electrostatic force of repulsion, you have to apply a small amount of force. When you keep on moving the plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point, when you are bringing closer and closer to plus q charge, don't you think the plus 1 coulomb charge will experience a stronger and a stronger force? Obviously. When the electrostatic force of repulsion increases, you have to increase the force what you have applied also. Keep in mind, I never mentioned this before when I introduced this topic because it was not necessary there. Here you have to make an assumption that you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field with the infinitely times very small speed. Because every time you are applying a force which is equal to electrostatic force of repulsion. Every time you have to keep on changing the force. That's why I said you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P not with an acceleration, with the uniform velocity that is also infinitely times very small velocity. Coming to this point, when you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, whether you are applying a constant force or a variable force, this time it is a constant force. That time it is a variable force. This time it is a constant force because from A to B, everywhere between A and B, plus 1 coulomb charge is experiencing nearly the same force. No, because the electric field is uniform between A and B. Whereas here, electric field from P to infinity is not at all uniform due to a plus q charge. That is the difference. You know this formula has a limitation. This formula is applicable only when the force is a constant force. Now I can apply this formula now because here the force which I am applying is a constant force. Okay, so this W, I'll take it as dW because work done is small. I'll take it as dW. This work done is dW. A small amount of work is done. And how to calculate that work done? How to calculate that work done? That is next question. That work done, a small amount of work done, can be calculated using the same formula Fs cos theta. A small amount of work done be calculated using the formula W is equal to Fs cos theta. This time the displacement is taken as minus dx. And cos theta is as it is, where theta is angle between the force and a displacement, that is 0. Because you are applying a force from right to left. You are applying a force from right to left. And displacement is also taking place in right to left direction. That is why theta is 0. Now the question is about this negative sign. How come the negative sign? Okay, force is the force what you applied, which is equal in magnitude to the electrostatic force of repulsion. But displacement is taking place also in the same direction in which you are applying the force. This dW is equal to, coming to the point why it is minus, you can use a concept of a position vector concept. Initially the plus 1 coulomb charge was at A. Let us assume its position vector be R1 vector. Finally the plus 1 coulomb charge should be brought to B. That time let us assume the position vector as R2 vector. Plus 1 coulomb charge was brought from A to B. There is a displacement. The displacement delta R vector is supposed to be equal to R2 vector minus R1 vector, final position vector minus initial position vector. Since if you speak, it is a one-dimensional one. So if I speak in terms of its distance, don't you think that R2 is less than R1? When you do R2 minus R1, obviously the answer is negative. That is nothing but actually delta R. Delta R is nothing but dx here. That's why it is minus dx. R2 minus R1, final position vector minus initial position vector. So the R2 minus R1, that's why it is delta R dr. Okay, instead of delta R, what I have here is minus dx. Now if I do the substitution, f is nothing but E only. F is E. And dx is obviously dx only, minus dx. Cos 0 is 1. Let this be equation 1. So this is actually whatever I calculated was work done in moving a unit positive charge from A to B against the electric field. This is equation 1. Now coming to the point. Here we have stopped our discussion related to the small work done. That small work done is given as E into minus dx. Small work done is given as E into minus dx. This is equation 1. So I was talking about relating electric intensity and electric potential. That work done is E into minus dx. Fine. Now, when you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B against the electric field of a plus q charge, maybe electric field at A, electric field at B, or electric field anywhere between A and B is obviously a uniform electric field. But whether the potential at A and potential at B, are they same? My question to you is whether the potential at A and potential at B, are they same? Electric intensity at A and electric intensity at B are same. Electric intensity anywhere between A and B is same. But whether potential at A and potential at B, are they same? Obviously not. If they were same, then how can there be a work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B? Recall the definition of potential difference between the 2 points. How you define potential difference between the 2 points? Potential difference between the 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field, correct? That is how you define electric potential at a point. How do you define potential difference between the 2 points? Amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. If the potentials at A and B were same, VA difference VB will be 0. That time W will be also 0. No. There cannot be a work done. There is some work done indicating that there is some potential difference between A and B. Yes or no? Exactly. There is a potential difference between A and B. Before I proceed further with this point, I would like to tell you one more point related to this equation. Especially whenever you work out the problems related to this concept, please keep in mind that even though I might have written VA difference VB is equal to W by Q naught, but in the problems, always remember that you would write it as potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position, that is equal to W by Q naught. Of course, Q naught is plus 1 coulomb in the definition. It should be a potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position, which means if you are bringing a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, it is supposed to be VB minus VA is equal to W by Q naught. If you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from, for example, B to A, who is a final position A, not in this case, generally, B to A, who is a final position A, so it should be VA minus VB is equal to W by Q naught. Again, I'll repeat, this is important as far as working a problem is concerned. Whenever you deal with the problems related to finding out the work done using the concept of potential difference in moving a particular charge, so you can rewrite the above formula as W is equal to Q naught into VA difference VB. But I said regarding this, here I might have written VA difference VB, difference in the potential at 2 points. But in reality, it should be a potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position. When you use that logic, sometimes work done is positive, sometimes work done is negative. Now the question is, what is the significance of a positive work done and what is the significance of a negative work done? Just look at this example. If you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, what I should write here? When I am moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, what is the work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B? How do you calculate? I should write W is equal to plus 1, W is equal to plus 1 coulomb into, which is the final position? B, VB minus VA. Tell me, which is greater, V or VB? From earlier discussion, V is a potential at A. It is a work done in moving unit positive charge from infinity to A. VB is a potential at B. It is a work done in moving a unit positive charge from unit to B. In which case you're doing the more work. B, right? VB is greater than VB in the example. When VB is greater than VA, when VB is greater than VA, surely this answer is positive. Positive answer. +1 column is positive. That means work is done. Work done is also positive. Work done positive, indicating that work is done against the electrostatic force. Keep in mind that work done positive indicates that work is done against the electrostatic force. Work done is negative means work is done by the electrostatic force. Work done is positive means work is done against the electrostatic force. Work done is negative means work is done against the electrostatic force. So by the electrostatic force. Again I'll repeat. Work done is positive means work is done against the electrostatic force. Work done is negative, indicating that work is done by the electrostatic force. That is the difference. This I wanted to highlight. Actually this point is given as a note in your study material. You can refer later. Again I'll repeat whatever I said. Keep in mind, concentrate. When you're using this formula in working out the problems, here I might have written VA difference VB. And whenever you calculate the work done, when you rearrange the formula, you will get work done is equal to Q0 into VA difference VB. I am sticking on to a definition where Q0 is a +1 coulomb charge. But in the problem, the charge can be negative. That is different thing. When you are moving a +1 coulomb charge from A to B, suppose if you are moving a +1 coulomb charge from A to B, I said in this formula it should be written as potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position. It is always written like that. Potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position. If you find that work done is, what did I say? Work done is positive, indicating that work is done against the electrostatic force. If you find that work done is negative, indicating that work is done by the electrostatic force. Okay, that is one point I want to tell you. I think it is clear. Coming back to our discussion again. Okay, so there is a work done in moving a +1 coulomb charge from A to B is a clear indication that there is a potential difference between the 2 points. Let me take a help of this equation only. There is a potential difference between A and B. Let me take up the potential difference between A and B as a dV, because A and B are very close, no? Even though there is a potential difference may be very small. So I'll take this VA difference VB as dV. VA difference VB is dV. Work done is also small, no? This W will be taken as dW divided by Q0 is a +1 coulomb, right? VA difference VB is dV. W is dW. Q0 is +1 coulomb charge, which implies I can write dV is equal to dW. Let me take this as equation 2. Just concentrate on equation 1 and equation 2. Don't you think I can think of substituting equation 2 in 1? If I do the substitution of equation 2 in 1, dW is replaced as dV is equal to minus E into dx. I'll repeat once again. I think you are clear about this, why this dx is taken as minus. It is not cos 120, cos 0 only, because I am talking about work done against the electrostatic, work done by me against the electrostatic field. So force is applied in a direction opposite to electrostatic force of repulsion, in this direction. Displacement is also from A to B. It is in the same direction. That is why theta is 0. But how come minus dx? I explained using the concept of position vector. Initially a +1 coulomb charge was at a distance r1 from q, and later it is at a distance r2 from q. What you find is the distance of +1 coulomb charge from point charge goes on decreases. That is the one way of understanding negative sign. Or if I deal with the displacement, final position vector minus initial position vector, this answer is obviously negative. Displacement is a vector, so minus dx. This is a final equation. This is actually what I was talking about. Relation between E and V, electric intensity and potential. Don't you think I can rewrite this above equation as E is equal to minus dV by dx? This E can be written as minus dV by dx. What is this E stands for? Electric field between A and B. It is electric field between A and B. This E is equal to minus dV by dx. In this formula, E is representing the electric field in the region between A and B. In the region between A and B. It is electric field in the region between A and B. And dV in the formula is representing potential difference between the 2 points A and B. Dx is representing a distance between the same 2 points. I'll repeat again. In this discussion, E is an electric field between A and B. dV is a potential difference between A and B. I said E is an electric field in the region between A and B. dV is a potential difference between A and B. dx is a distance of separation between A and B. This is the relation between electric intensity and electric potential, where I said E is an electric field in the region between A and B. dV is a potential difference between the 2 points A and B, and dx is a distance of separation between the 2 points. Again, the importance is what is the meaning of a negative sign also. I will tell you, wait for some time. This dV by dx, I can, instead of calling dV separately as a potential difference between the 2 points where the distance between them is dx, I can replace dV by dx by a single term, technical term. You know, in the last year in physics you come across this equation dt by dx in thermodynamics. You come across a dV by dx in viscosity. dt by dx is called temperature gradient. dV by dx is called velocity gradient. Similarly, see, temperature gradient is a change in temperature with the distance. Velocity gradient is a change in velocity with the distance. Similarly, dV by dx is a change in potential with the distance. I can call dV by dx as potential gradient. What I can call dV by dx as potential gradient. E is an electric field. That means I can now read the entire equation somewhat like this. Electric field is equal to negative of the potential gradient. How do you read this? Electric field is equal to negative of the potential gradient. Question is, what is the significance of negative sign? See, I'll tell you. When you are moving from B to A in this discussion, when you are moving from B to A, you are moving along the direction of if you are moving from B to A, you are moving along the direction of electric field. Use your knowledge and tell me, when you are moving from B to A, potential is decreasing or increasing? Where the potential is more according to this explanation? Potential at B is greater than potential at A, no? So when you are moving from B to A, potential is increasing or decreasing? Decreasing, correct? That means negative sign indicates that if you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on decreases. Again, I'll repeat. Negative sign in the formula indicates that if you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on decreases. That is the meaning. Or if you move against the direction of electric field, potential goes on increases. I'll repeat. If you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on decreases. If you move against the direction of electric field, potential goes on increases. That is the meaning of a negative sign. What made me to say that? Because potential at B is greater than potential at A. If you move from B to A, means you are moving along the direction of electric field of a plus Q charge, correct? You are moving along the direction of electric field of plus Q charge. So that's why I said when you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on decreases. That is the meaning of negative sign. Negative sign indicates that if you move along the direction of electric field, potential decreases. If you move against the direction of electric field, potential increases. One of the very important discussion, because same discussion will be repeated in the next very important derivation. So please recollect everything if you have missed any of the thing. I started with the plus Q charge. I said there is electric field around it. Then I selected a very close point. In the beginning I selected a large 2 points very large distance away, but we know that electric field in this region is not uniform. Even though direction is the same, but magnitude is not uniform. To overcome the problem, I selected 2 points very close to each other, where I can say direction is already same, but since they are very close to each other, the magnitude of electric field is also same, so it is a uniform electric field. Then this is a definition of electric intensity at point A or at point P or at anywhere between A and B, because it is a uniform electric field. According to that formula, F by Q naught E is equal to F. Keep in mind. Then you are asked to move a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B against the electric field. When you are asked to move a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B against the electric field, there is some work done, and work done is calculated by the formula W is equal to Fs cos theta. Keep in mind that this formula is having a limitation. It is applicable only when the force is constant. So here obviously force is a constant, because you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B plus 1 coulomb charge may be at A, may be at B, or anywhere between A and B, it will experience the same amount of electrostatic force. So I have to apply a force equal in magnitude to the electrostatic force but in opposite direction. So force applied by me is a constant, correct? And that is equal to electric field in magnitude. Then force is F and displacement is, I said dx. Why it is taken as minus dx? I told you why. Then cos 0, force and displacement are in the same direction. Then it is E is equal to minus dx, equation 1. Then I asked with you, is there any electric field between A and B is uniform, but whether there is a potential difference between A and B? You have to agree that there is, because there is a work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, which means there is a potential difference. So then I took the idea of potential difference between the 2 points concept. Potential difference between the 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point against the electric field. Potential difference be very small because A and B may be very close. So I can use VA difference, VB can be replaced as dV. W is dW, Q naught is plus 1 coulomb. So you got dV is equal to dW, equation 1. Then I substitute 1 in 2 or 2 in 1, whatever it may be. So you'll get dV is equal to minus dx, minus E dx. It is rewritten as E is equal to minus dV by dx. This is the relation between E and V. After 1 minute, you can refer study material regarding this discussion and highlight these points, whatever I said. So here E is electric field in this region. dV by dx is called potential gradient, comparable with temperature gradient and velocity gradient. Actually, the point to be noted is dV is a potential difference between those 2 points A and B, where the separation between them is dx. What is the meaning of negative sign? I told you. If you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on, decreases. That is the meaning of a negative sign. And remember one thing, several highlighting point from this equation. This formula is applicable only when the field is uniform. This formula is applicable only when the field, this particular relation is applicable only when the field is uniform, because you may be thinking electric field produced by plus Q is a non-uniform. No, of course it is non-uniform, but I am not talking about entire electric field. No, that's why I selected 2 points where A and B, where field was assumed to be a uniform. Entire field may be non-uniform, but small region in that non-uniform electric field can be a uniform, like what I explained here. It is applicable for a uniform electric field. Before you refer your study material, one more point I would like to highlight about the unit of electric intensity. Can you recall what was the unit of electric intensity? Electric intensity. It is Newton per coulomb, what you learnt. Have you remembered? Unit of electric intensity was Newton per coulomb. At the same time, one more unit you have discussed. It is either Newton per coulomb or volt per meter, but it was not explained in that topic because there was no sufficient data to explain. Now you can understand why electric field, electric intensity can be given as volt per meter along with the Newton per coulomb. See this. What is the unit of potential difference? Should be volt only, no? When the unit of potential is volt, means potential difference should be also volt. Correct? So unit of potential difference is volt. What is the unit of distance? Meter. So volt per meter is one more unit of electric intensity. I think you got the point. I'll give another 1 minute. Please go through this particular discussion in a study material. If there is any confusion, just try to rectify it. And also at the same time, this particular note also you highlight in your study material. It may be in the first page of that particular chapter. This W is equal to Q naught into VA difference VB, and when you work out the problem, you should see that it should be a potential at the final position minus potential at the initial position into Q naught. Work done positive indicating that work is done against the electrostatic force. Work done negative indicates that work is done by the electrostatic force. Just refer the study material. I'll give 1 minute. Just go through it. Please keep on referring your study material. Okay, I think now we can continue. I don't think you'll be having any doubt related to whatever I explained. This was the last derivation we have derived, the relation between electric intensity and potential, and I said this equation is having a limitation that it is applicable only for a uniform electric field. Of course, you can apply for a non-uniform electric field only, non-uniform electric field also, but condition that in that non-uniform electric field you have to select a small region where in that region electric field should be uniform. In that case, this formula can be applicable. And even I told you the last concluding points, like what is the significance of a negative sign, and also the unit of E from this equation can be volt per meter. One of the unit of electric intensity was Newton per coulomb, and now according to this formula it is clear that it can be volt per meter. Okay, let me proceed. Please remember these equations. Let me proceed. Now I'm taking up a very important derivation. What I'm going to derive I'll tell you when the time passes, when I proceed further. But one thing is clear from our discussion, that we are talking about electrostatics, means we don't have other option. We have to still deal with the static charges only. Again, starting from the concept of a point charge, plus Q charge at some point O, which can produce an electric field around it, is a well-known fact. Now if I select a point, if I name that point as a P, assuming that the point P is at a certain distance R from a plus Q charge, we have reached a stage where I can define electric intensity at point P. Even I can define electric potential at point P. I said we have reached the stage where I can define electric intensity at point P, and we can define electric potential also at point P. If I recollect, electric intensity at a point is defined as the force experienced by the unit positive charge placed at that point, correct? And even in the previous chapter you have derived the expression for a electric intensity at a point P due to a plus Q charge. If you recollect, you know the formula which you got was 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R square. This formula you have derived. Now today my point of discussion is deriving an expression for potential at a point. Of course, electric potential at a point, which point? P, because here this E is electric intensity at point P. Now my aim is to derive expression for electric potential at a point due to a point charge. Recollect, no? This was an expression for electric intensity at a point P due to a point charge. Now my main aim in next discussion is deriving an expression for electric potential at a point due to a point charge. Let us start with the basics, which will help you a lot. Already assumptions required is there, plus Q charge is there, point is already selected. You know there is electric intensity at point P, and we already derived expression for electric intensity at point P. Wherever you define electric intensity at a point, you're supposed to assume a plus 1 coulomb charge. When you assume a plus 1 coulomb charge, plus 1 will be repelled by plus Q charge. So this is the direction of the force. That itself is the direction of electric intensity. It is a known factor. I need not keep on repeating it. Just for your reference, I'm just recalling it. If you have forgotten by chance, by mistake, I have rewritten it. But my point of discussion is not E. Now point of discussion is V. If I follow the definition of a potential, because my aim is derive expression for a potential at a point P due to a plus Q charge, due to a point charge. According to definition of electric potential at a point, electric potential at a point is defined as work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. According to definition, this is a formula. You know, in the formula Q naught is equal to plus 1 coulomb. When Q naught is equal to plus 1 coulomb, according to this equation which says that V is equal to W, then of course numerically V is equal to W numerically, not in terms of unit, because Q naught was 1 coulomb, 1 coulomb. So V is numerically supposed to be equal to W. That means one thing is clear. Our aim may be to derive expression for a potential. This equation says that calculate the work done by you in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P. That itself is a measure of V. We have to calculate W. I said we have to calculate W, that itself is a measure of V. Question is how to calculate W now. Whenever you talk about calculating a work done, suddenly the mind works and the equation which comes in your mind is W is equal to Fs cos theta. But I told you in the previous discussion that this formula has a limitations. This formula is applicable only when this formula is applicable only when F is a constant. Here obviously F cannot be a constant because you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. Means throughout the motion, don't you think that you have to keep on increasing the force what you applied? In the beginning you are applying a very weak force in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge. By the time passes, the force which you are supposed to apply goes on. What? Should increase, because when you are bringing a plus 1 coulomb charge near and near the plus q charge, electrostatic force of repulsion goes on, increases. To balance that force, I have to apply a stronger force, right? Means whatever the force you are applying is not a constant force. So I have a problem in using this formula for the entire situation directly. So what I can assume in such cases is, from point P to infinity, divide that entire distance into a number of very small distances, each equal to dx. I'll repeat. I think you understood the problem what I'm facing in using this formula in calculating the work done. My aim is to calculate work done. If I'm able to calculate work done numerically, that itself is V. Problem I'm facing in calculating the work done is the formula is having a limitation. Formula is applicable only when the force is constant. But I have to apply a variable force when I'm moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P. To balance the electrostatic force of repulsion, I have to keep on increasing the force applied. Because when I keep on moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P, electrostatic force of repulsion goes on, increases. To balance that, I have to apply a stronger force. That was the problem I'm facing. To overcome the problem, what I'll do is, I'll divide the entire distance into a number of smaller parts, each of equal distance dx. This is actually what you learned last year in work energy power topic. Whenever the work done is a variable, whenever the work done is by the variable forces, that time you have to divide the entire displacement into a number of small parts, each of equal displacement, let us say dx, and for each dx force is one constant. That logic. See, for example, A and B are the two very close points separated by distance dx. This is one of the dx. From point P to infinity there are a number of dx's. This is one of them. When A and B are very close to each other, don't you think that electric field between A and B is uniform? When the electric field between A and B is uniform means what? Plus 1 coulomb charge at A or plus 1 coulomb charge at B or plus 1 coulomb charge anywhere between A and B will experience a same electrostatic force of repulsion. Correct? That time I can calculate a small work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B. So this logic, what you have to do, you have to apply for the entire distance. Here one dx, here one more dx, here one more dx, here one more dx, here one more dx. Entire distance should be divided into number of small dx, each of equal distance dx, and each dx electric field is one constant. For the next dx electric field is another constant. For next dx electric field is another constant. When you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, there is small amount of work done. Now if I select another 2 points C and D, separated by dx. When you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from C to D, there is another small amount of work done. If I select another 2 points E and F, when I move a plus 1 coulomb charge from E to F, there is another small work done dx. Another small work done dw, sorry. I said from P to infinity you have to divide into number of small displacement dx, and in each dx electric field is one constant. Here electric field is one uniform electric field, here different uniform electric field, here different uniform electric, but in this region it is uniform, in this region it is one more uniform value, in this region one more uniform value. Don't you think that I can use this formula in calculating the work done in each case? Here, everywhere I can use, because for this force is constant, for this force is one more constant. I can use this formula. I can write dw is equal to f into dx into cos theta, something like that. I can use that. Next question is, I can use this formula w is equal to fs cos theta for this distance dx, this displacement dx, because here electric field is assumed to be a one constant, here electric field is assumed to be another constant, here electric field is assumed to be another constant. Here force is one constant, here force is another constant, here force is one more constant. That means I can calculate the work done in this case separately using this formula. Let us, here I'll get dw1, here I'll get dw2, here I'll get dw3, like that. Whether all the dw's are same? No, all the dw's won't be same. See, for example, I'll tell you, let us forget about this E, F and DC for timing. Let us select A and B. If you are confused, I'll draw the diagram again. If you're getting confused, I'll redraw the diagram. There is a plus Q charge at some point O. There is a point P which was selected at a distance R from a plus Q charge. There is already electric field at point P. I said now my aim is to calculate electric potential at point P. It is already explained here. I am selecting the 2 points A and B very close to each other. Of course, I have to divide the entire distance in number of small parts, each of equal displacement dx. I selected A and B, assuming that A is at a distance x from a plus Q charge. When let us say already plus 1 coulomb charge is at A, is there any work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B? There is a small work done. There is a small work done. And that small work done can be calculated using this formula, because in this A and B are so close that, previous derivation, A and B are so close that plus 1 coulomb charge at A, plus 1 coulomb charge at B, or plus 1 coulomb charge assumed anywhere between A and B will experience the same amount of force. That means electric field in this region is uniform. Entire electric field is non-uniform. But in this region electric field is assumed to be one uniform electric field. So if I use this formula Fs cos theta, F is electrostatic force which I have to apply, means it is a force what I have to apply is equal in magnitude to the electrostatic force. Force what I have to apply is equal in magnitude to the electrostatic force. Displacement is minus dx. You understood why it is minus dx. You can refer the previous discussion. See here, this was R1, this was R2, and you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, means final position vector minus initial position vector, it will be equal to minus delta R, correct? So instead of delta R, I am having minus dx. And what is the angle between force and a displacement? Force and displacement are in the same direction, so it is cos 0. So dw is equal to minus f into dx. Fine. This is the work done in this case. What is F stands for? Electrostatic force between who and who? Plus 1 coulomb charge and plus Q charge. Of course, that force can be equal to this E in magnitude. This F can be equal to E in magnitude. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can represent as the force only. What is the expression for electrostatic force between plus Q and plus 1? Not A and B. Plus Q and plus 1. Minus is already there. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q into 1. Correct? Q into 1 by x square. I'll repeat. What I am calculating is work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B. A and B are the 2 points selected very close to each other, separated by a small distance, assuming that electric field between A and B due to plus Q charge was assumed to be uniform electric field. Then you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge, let us say, from A to B. There is a small amount of work done. A small amount of work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B can be given by the formula dw is equal to F into minus dx. I am using Fs cos theta formula only. F is F S is minus dx and cos 0 minus f dx. F is electrostatic force between plus q and plus 1. Distance was assumed as x. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q into 1 q1 q2 by r square. R square is x square into remaining is dx. This is one small work done. You implement this idea for various other points, like when you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from C to D, E to F. Don't you think in each case there is some small work done dw? Whether all the dw's are same, that is my question. Whether dw here, dw here, dw here, are they same? Obviously not. Why dw's are not same? Dx may be same, theta is 0, but f is not same, no. F will be a different constant for different cases. F here is one value, f here is one value, f here is different value, f here is different value. So f is not same. Means I can't directly go for, since all the dw's are not same, I can't directly go for like n times dw, because I won't be knowing n also, because it is still infinite. It is still infinite. But one thing is clear, that according to our knowledge, work done is scalar. If you are able to calculate all the small work done, let us say one is dw1, other one is dw2, other one is dw3. How to calculate total work done? It is just a summation, because work done is a scalar. So total work done should be a summation of all the work done. My aim is to calculate total work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to point P. If you add all the small work done, obviously I am going to get a total work done. But the problem is how to add those work done. Because we should know all the dw's, dw1, dw2, dw individually. We are unable to calculate individually because it is extending up to infinity. It is not a finite distance. In such case, a mathematical approach called integration will help you a lot. It will make the things very simple. Of course, I need not explain in detail, because same logic was used by you last year in work energy theorem, and many derivations are derived using integration. Integration is an alternative for a summation. Is help you a lot. Integration is a simple alternative for a summation. Means this W, which is a total amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a plus 1 coulomb charge, which is at infinite distance from plus q charge, to a point which is at a finite distance from plus q charge, it can be found out by integrating the above small work done. The total work done can be found out by integrating the small work done within the limits infinity to r. This is a major part of the discussion now. This total work done can be found out by integrating the above small work done within the limit infinity to r. Why the limit is from infinity to r? It is very simple. If I do the substitution for a dw here, w is equal to integration of dw is minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by x square into dx. Now one thing is clear from this. You must be knowing the basic integration. One thing is clear from, because you already derived a mini derivation last year itself. You are integrating with respect to x. Still, we'll recall some basic equations of integration, which is required for our discussion. We'll keep it at a side for a time being. Basic formula of integration. Integration of x to the power n dx is equal to x to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus c. I'll repeat. This is read as integration of x to the power n dx is equal to x to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus c, where c is called integration constant. This is actually a indefinite integral. There are no limit values. I am recalling things which you already studied last year. Concentrate. Suppose if I come across this example, integration of x to the power n dx within the limits x is equal to 2 to x is equal to 5. Integration of x to the power n dx within the limit x is equal to 2 to x is equal to 5. This is called definite integral. When you speak about definite integral, of course, integration formula will be same. X to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Integration constant is always 0 in a definite integral. C won't be there. Then I have to put the limits. After integration, I should put a bracket. Then I have to put the limit. How to put the limit, we'll discuss. I have to write the limit values here in the at the edges of the bracket. How to put the limit, I will tell you. You must be knowing. We'll recall. That's different thing. This is called indefinite integral. This is called definite integral. In indefinite integral, there is always something called integration constant. In a definite integral, integration constant is always 0. Now coming to the point here. Tell me. Here you are integrating with respect to what? Dx indicates that you are integrating with respect to x. I'll read the formula. Total work done. This W is a total amount of work done in moving a +1 coulomb charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. W is equal to integration of minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by x square into dx. This dx indicates that I have to integrate with respect to x. When I am integrating with respect to x, obviously limit values for x only. That means x is equal to infinity to x is equal to r. Now you think why I am talking about limit values from infinity to r. What is actually W represents? It is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point P against the electric field. That means in the beginning the +1 coulomb charge is at what distance from a plus q charge? In the beginning the +1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance from a plus q charge. See why I took x is equal to infinity, because when the +1 coulomb charge was assumed at A, the distance was taken as x. When the same +1 coulomb charge is infinity, what is the value of x? Infinity, no. When the same +1 coulomb charge was at a distance, infinite distance from a plus q charge to a point which is at a distance. You are moving a +1 coulomb charge from infinite distance from +1 plus q charge to a point which is at a distance r from a plus q charge. That is why limits are from infinity to r. Okay, let me continue this discussion. So integration basic formula is here. I'll do the integration. Just like in a differentiation, the basic rule of integrations are like if there are some constant terms, it will be taken outside the integration. Like since you are integrating with respect to x, remaining things are taken as a constant here. So I can take minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught can be taken outside the integration. You will be left out with integration of 1 by x square dx within the limit x is equal to infinity to x is equal to r. Only the main job is integrating this. I'll leave it to the side, then I'll do the direct substitution. In the exams also you can do that. Integration of 1 by x square dx within the limits infinity to r can be written as integration of x to the power minus 2 dx within the limits infinity to r is equal to integration of x to the power minus 2. Sticking on to the general formula. In the place of n I am having minus 2 here. In the place of n I am having minus 2. So if I do the integration, x to the power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1. Now I have to put the limit values here at the edge of the bracket, infinity to r. Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Means answer will be minus 1 by x within the limits infinity to r. I think I understood why the limits are infinity to r. Now I'll do the substitution here. Total work done is equal to minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught into, this is minus 1 by x, where x is equal to infinity to x is equal to r. I'll take the minus sign outside the bracket. You will get w is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught, minus or minus is plus 1 by x. Limits are value from x is equal to infinity to x is equal to r. You know the basic rule of putting the limits. First I have to put the upper limit minus lower limit. So w is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught into x is, upper limit is r, x is equal to r, minus 1 by lower limit is infinity. What is 1 by infinity? 0. So you will get w is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught into 1 by r, correct? Which can be also written as W is equal to, writing in a standard term, like you'll find in most of the equations in electrostatics, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is a common term. So we'll write like that, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught and Q by R. This is a work done. According to our definition, coming back here, W itself is numerically equal to V. Means since numerically this W itself is V, I can write instead of W, since V itself is W, instead of W I can write V. The final formula will become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. This is an expression for electric potential at a point due to a point charge. Read the formula. V is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. What was the expression for electric intensity at a point P due to a point charge? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R square, correct? This was the expression for E at a point P due to a point charge. This is the expression for a V at a point P due to a point charge. I think you followed the discussion. You just go through once, then after that you go through a study material. See, I'll start from this. Quickly we'll go through. If you have any doubt, you clarify it. I don't think you'll be having any doubt. I assumed a plus Q charge at some point O. Then I selected one point P at a distance R from plus Q charge. Then I said I can define electric intensity at a point P. Even I can define electric potential at a point P. See, already we defined both of them. And even we have derived the expression for electric intensity at point P due to plus Q charge. So this was the equation followed. This was an expression what you got in the derivation in the previous chapter. Then I said today at least we started with the topic electric potential. So let us try to derive an expression for a potential at a point P due to a point charge. Then I followed a definition. Because even in deriving this also, definition of electric intensity was only followed. Same procedure. There is a comparative study you can do. According to a definition of electric potential at a point, it is a amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to a point under consideration against the electric field. I wrote equation from the definition. Then you know Q0 is plus 1 coulomb. So we arrived at the equation V is equal to W, indicating that if you want a potential at a point P, find out work done. So what you are actually supposed to calculate ultimately is work done in moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P. But the problem what you face there is, whenever you talk about work done, formula strikes in your mind is W is equal to Fs cos theta. But you know that formula has a limitation. Formula is applicable only when force is constant. But when you are moving a plus 1 coulomb charge from infinity to point P, force is not at all a constant. You are applying a variable force. Correct? So I can't use this formula directly in calculating the total work done. So to overcome that problem, we use the logics what we come across last year in physics. What we did is, we'll assume that from point P to infinity, the entire distance is divided into a number of small displacement, each of equal displacement dx. Assuming that in each dx electric field is one uniform electric field. Of course, in different dx electric field is different electric. In different dx electric field is a different value, but in one dx electric field is uniform. Next dx electric field is another uniform value. So that I can say that for each dx force to be applied is constant. So I took one example. In that non-uniform electric field, I selected 2 points A and B. They are separated by a very small distance dx, assuming that in that region electric field is uniform. So if I move a plus 1 coulomb charge from A to B, a small amount of work is done, and that work done can be found using this formula because force is a constant there. Correct? Use this equation. dW is equal to F into minus dx into cos 0. You understood why theta is 0 because force and displacement are in same direction, and you understood why dx is negative, already explained in the previous discussion. So minus f dx. So dW is equal to F is electrostatic force between plus 1 coulomb charge and plus Q charge. Of course, when the plus 1 coulomb charge is at A, or plus 1 coulomb charge is at B, or plus 1 coulomb charge is anywhere between A and B, I can say its distance from plus Q charge is nearly x only because dx is very small compared to x. So I can say this force is electrostatic force between plus 1 coulomb charge and plus q charge. I said it can directly substitute as force or it can substitute as E, because F is numerically equal to E, no? I did direct substitution, 1 by 4 pi epsilon into q by, instead of r square, what do you have here? X square. I think you understood. Instead of directly substituting F, you can do a substitution for E, because F is numerically equal to E. You write E, substitute E. E is 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square. Anything is okay. Instead of r, I'm having X. This is a small work done. In this case, you use the same logic for all the other small displacement. If you use the same logic for all the other small dx, do you think dw's are the same? If you use the same logic for all the dx, do you think that dw's are the same? Obviously not. Dw's are different. So I should take dw1, dw2, dw3 like that. Then I should, when you talk about total work done, since work done is a scalar, I should go for a summation. dw1 plus dw2 plus dw3 like that. But the problem what I face is this, I have to apply for till infinite distance. So it is not so easy. So in such cases, the best approach is a mathematical logic integration. Integration is the best alternative method for a summation in such complicated cases. So I can say that the total work done, which is the sum of all the small work dones, that can be found as a total work done is equal to integration of a dw within the limits infinity to r. I told you why the limits are from infinity to r, because in the beginning the plus 1 coulomb charge is at infinite distance from plus q charge, and finally you're going to get it to the point P, which is at a distance r. That's why x values are varying from infinity to r. Then I did the substitution for dw. Then I took help of basic formula of integration, which is very much needed. At least if we don't know in detail what is integration, but at least basic formula is needed for this discussion. Then do the integration. Integration x to the power n dx is equal to x to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1. There is something called indefinite integral and definite integral. In indefinite integral, there is some constant called integration constant. In definite integral, the integration constant will be 0. In definite integral, there are limit values. Whereas in indefinite integral, there are no limit values. We don't know to what limit you're integrating it. That's why there is a constant called integration constant. Now come back to this. This w is equal to, I said no, basic rules of differentiation is applicable even for integration. The constant terms will be taken outside the integration. I took minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught outside the integration. Remaining is 1 by x square dx within the limits infinity to r. It is read as minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught integration of 1 by x square dx within the limits infinity to r. Then I do the integration part separately, just to avoid confusions. Integration of 1 by x square dx within the limits infinity to r. These are the limit values for x, as I told you already. You should understand that. This 1 by x square can be taken as x to the power minus 2 dx, and where n is minus 2 now, using the general formula, n is minus 2, n plus 1 by n plus 1. N is minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1. There won't be c. Limit values for infinity to r. So this is minus 1 by x within the limits infinity to r. Do the substitution here. And now putting the limit values. First upper limit r, x is equal to r, minus lower limit 1 by infinity. So you will arrive at this equation, and according to definition, this w itself, according to the definition, this w itself is v. So I can write v is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r. I'll give another 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. Please go through this discussion in your study material, because to get a more clarity, you have to go through it once again. Please go through it. You should keep a study material with you ready so that you can grasp the point clearly. So when I am explaining, don't look at the study material, just look at the screen and try to understand what I am explaining. But I will give a time so that after one major discussion, I will tell you to refer this derivation, refer this discussion in study material. That time you refer that. Helpful a lot. Okay? I'll give another 1 minute. Please go through it. Just go through the study material. Okay, students, we'll continue the discussion. Now, I think we have reached a situation where I can do a comparative study of the concepts. There is a plus q charge at some point O. A point P is selected at a distance r from plus q charge. Then we already know that according to the derivation, electric intensity at a point P due to a plus q charge is given by the formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. Now you know that the electric potential at point P due to a plus q charge is given by the formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r. This is just now we derived. This is expression for electric intensity at a point P due to a plus q charge. This is expression for electric potential at a point P due to a plus q charge. If I compare these two equations, one important point I can highlight here is, can I relate E and V as E is equal to V by R? Just look at the equation E and V. If you divide this V by R, surely I'll get 1 by 4 pi epsilon to q by r square, no? Of course, this under the condition this formula is applicable where E is a electric intensity at a point P due to a plus q charge and V is a electric potential at point P due to a plus q charge which is at a distance r from a plus q charge. In this formula, E is a electric intensity at point P due to a plus q charge and V is a electric potential at point P due to a plus q charge where r is a distance of a point from the plus q charge. Under that condition, this relation is valid. Now see. Like a previous discussion, what are the units of electric intensity? Newton per coulomb, which you already know, and which is the one more alternative, volt per meter. It is clear from this formula also. V is volt and R is meter. This is one highlighting point. This relation is valid under a condition that here E is a electric intensity at point P due to a plus q charge. V is a electric potential at point due to plus q charge where that point is at a distance R from plus q charge. This is a vector. Electric intensity is a vector. Electric potential is a scalar. Whenever you talk about electric intensity at a point due to a charge, have you remembered that we used to ignore the nature of the charge in finding the magnitude of the electric intensity? Even though the charge was, if I say minus q, you should write it as q only in the calculation. Whenever we, not only E, even force also, electric intensity, electrostatic force, if the charge was negative also, we never used to consider a negative sign in the calculation of the magnitude of the electric field, since they are vectors. We never used to bother about the nature of the charge in calculating the magnitude, but of course the nature of a charge was taken into account in drawing their direction, both in E and F. That is why we never used to consider a nature of the charge in the calculation. Even though charge was negative, you used to take it as only the magnitude of the charge in the calculation. But here you can't do that. If the charge was negative here, you have to include a negative sign in the charge, because potential is a scalar. What I'm trying to tell you is, at point O, if I had a minus q charge, and if I select a point P at a distance r from a minus q charge, then what is the expression for electric potential at point P due to a minus q charge? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into minus q by r. This is a difference between this V and the concepts of E and F. In F and E, we never bother about the nature of the charge in calculating the magnitude of E and F. We used to consider the nature of the charge only in drawing a direction. But here you have to bother, because potential is a scalar. If the charge is positive, you should write positive plus q. If the charge is negative, I should write minus q. Means, don't you think one thing is clear from the discussion? Potential due to a positive charge is positive. Potential due to a negative charge is negative. I don't know, you might have remembered in the chapter called electric charge and field, I have told you to remember this statement. Positive charge always contributes some positive potential. Negative charge always contributes some negative potential. Now you understood why. That day I asked you to remember, because we required a use of that potential in some explanation. You are asked to remember, and I told you that day that you will come to know in the next chapter. Now it is more clear. Positive charge always contributes some positive potential. Negative charge always contributes some negative. Answer is negative. No, here. Here answer is positive. Positive charge contributes positive potential. Negative charge contributes some negative potential. Even I have told you one more point. Have you remembered? If you move away from the positive charge, potential goes on increases. Sorry, if you move away from the positive charge, potential goes on decreases. If you move away from the negative charge, potential goes on increases. That also can be understood clearly here. So I'll take an example and tell you. Let us say there is a 2 nanocoulomb charge. This is Q at some point O. I'll select the points A, point B, point C. Assume that A is at a distance of 2 meter, B is at a distance of 4 meter, C is at a distance of 6 meter from a plus Q charge. Calculate potential at A. I should go for this formula, right? Potential at A. I am calculating potential at A. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 9 in 10 to the power 9, no. Q is 2 in 10 to the power minus 9, right? Divided by R, 2 meter, right? This will get cancelled. 2 will get cancelled. How much you get? 9 volt. Volt is unit of potential. Potential at B. 9 into 10 to the power 9. I am using this formula. Q is again 2 into 10 to the power minus 9 by, what is the distance? 4. So 2 1s are 2 2s are 9 by 2 is obviously 4.5 volt, correct? VC, potential at C, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 in 10 to the power 9. Q is 2 into 10 to the power minus 9, charge, correct? Point charge, divided by distance is 6. So 2 1s are 2 3s are, this will get cancelled, 9 by 3 volt. Means at A, what is the potential? 9 volt. At B, 4.5 volt. At C, 3 volt. As you move away from the positive point charge, potential goes on decreases. 9 has become 4.5, 4.5 has become 3. What is the direction of electric field here? So I'll make the concepts more clear. See, what is the direction of electric field? Electric field, not potential, electric field. In this direction, no, I have to assume plus 1 coulomb. Plus 1 is repelled by this. Here, this direction. Here, this direction. If you move along the direction of electric field, potential goes on, decreases. If you move against the direction of electric field, potential goes on, increases. This statement I said earlier. Suppose, by chance, if this is -2, at O you are having a charge as a -2 into -9, and I'll select the same points A, B and C. Assuming A is at a distance 2 meter only, calculation becomes easier, no? A will be at a distance 2 meter, B is at a distance 4 meter, C is at a distance 6 meter. What is the potential at A? Same answer, but with a negative sign, no? Charge is negative, I have to put a negative sign. Charge is negative means I have to include negative sign in calculating a potential. So 9 volt here -4.5, here -3. -9 to -4.5, increase or decrease? Yeah, -4.5 is greater than -9. -4.5 is greater than -9. -3 is greater than -4.5. That means as you move away from the negative charge, potential goes on, increases. This is what I said. The two things which I said, which I didn't give an explanation. I said we'll get explanation next chapter in the previous topic. Positive charge always contributes some positive potential. Negative charge always contributes some negative potential. If you move away from the positive charge, potential goes on, decreases. If you move away from the negative charge, potential goes on, increases. -9 becoming -4.5 volt means increases. No, -4 has become -3, it has increased. Tell me, what is the direction of electric intensity at A? In this direction. Because this is a negative point charge. If I assume a +1 coulomb charge, +1 coulomb will be attracted towards this. What is the direction of electric intensity? In this direction. What is the direction of electric intensity? In this direction. When you move from A to B, B to C, you are moving along electric field or against electric field? You are moving against electric field. When you move against electric field, potential goes on, increases. If you move along electric field, potential goes on, decreases. At the end, the meaning is same. I think you followed. Please highlight on this point, this relation, under a condition that for a point charge, E is electric intensity at a point due to a point charge, V is electric potential at point P due to a point charge, R is the distance of a point, R is the distance of a point from the point charge. Then positive, when you difference between E, F and V, when you talk about E and F, whenever you calculate E and F, we never used to bother about the nature of the charge. We used to consider, even though it is a negative charge, you should consider only the magnitude. But especially when you talk about potential, if the charge is positive, potential is positive. If the charge is negative, you include a negative sign. Especially important when you are solving the problems. Positive charge always contribute positive potential, negative charge always contribute some negative potential. If you move away from the positive charge, potential goes on, decreases. If you move away from the negative charge, potential goes on, increases. This also can be understood. If you move along the electric field, potential goes on, decreases. If you move against the electric field, potential goes on, increases. That can be understood by these two examples. I think you followed the discussion. So please go through all these points. And also I'll conclude the class with one more very important one. Keep in mind, whenever you solve the problems related to the electric intensity and electric potential comparison, if I say there is a square, Q1 is there, Q2 is there, minus Q3 is there, Q1 is at A, Q2 is at B, Q3 is at C, and there is D. Let us say ABCD is a square. Even though it won't look like a square, assume that it is a square. ABCD is a square of side some R. You come across this type of problem in electric intensity. Like you are asked to calculate net electric intensity at D. If you are asked to calculate net electric intensity at D, what you have to do? First step is assuming a +1 coulomb charge. Then you have to find out how many charges contribute for electric intensity. How many will contribute? 3. Then you have to find them individually. Correct? E1 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 by A D square. Correct? E2 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q2 by B D square. E3 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon into Q3 by DC square. After finding out E1, E2 and E3, then you should draw the direction, because electric intensity is a vector. So net electric intensity is a vector sum of the electric intensity due to the individual charges. This is a well-known fact. You already solved many problems. Now I am talking about calculating a net to potential at D. Net to potential at D. You can follow the same procedure. Since you are asked to calculate a potential at D, you can assume a +1 coulomb charge, because you have to bring a +1 coulomb charge from infinity to that point D, no, to define a potential at point D. Tell me how many charges are contributing for a potential at D. Basic formula to be remembered is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. Potential, no. How many charges are contributing for a potential? 3. One is due to Q1, one more is due to Q2, one more is due to Q3. So find them individually. V1, 1 by 4 pi epsilon potential at D due to a charge at A. Potential at D due to a charge at A. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 by R. R is AD, distance between the point and that point charge. V2 is a potential at point D due to a charge at B. This distance should be known. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into, I am using this general formula, please concentrate. Q is Q2 divided by R. What is R? BD. Next, which is the third charge contributing potential at D? Minus Q3, right? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into, now you should be careful. I should include the nature of the charge. Negative charge, no, I should include Q3 by CD. Finding them is individual. Then what should I do? Drawing a direction? No, because potential is a scalar. Only for this you should draw the direction, then you have to do the vector sum. You might use a parallelogram law. But potential is a scalar, so net potential will be V is equal to just a algebraic sum. V1 plus V2 plus V3. Of course, V3 will be negative. Include a negative sign here in the addition. You will get a net potential. That is the difference. Don't you think if there is a problem based on potential, this will be easier? There is no problem of question of drawing a direction and all. So what I am trying to tell you is, net electric intensity at a point due to a system of charges is a vector sum of the electric intensity to individual charges. Whereas net